Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Octane Online Racing's Iracing Thermaltake Gt3 series for the final round of Season 1 here at Spa-Francorchamps. I'm Cameron Fistlethwaite. George Sicanius in the booth with me. And of course, we've got lovely Glenn on the cameras. But lovely to be here. Lovely to round out this last race of the season. A little bit off kilter with our ACC and LMU, but should be, as everyone will probably may have already seen, we'll be running this full time for next season alongside the previously said games as well. So, but yeah, going to bookend the last round of iRacing for this first season. It's been glorious to see the work done behind the scenes by some of the people, and great to see all the participation, I think, as well. But George, welcome. Thank you for joining me in the booth for this final Wednesday night of this season. But yeah, Spa-Francorchamps. Surely you know this one.
Yes, I do. Good evening, Cameron. Yes, this is my first one, obviously, looking at iRacing, especially on Spa. We all know what Spa's like, and it's a great track. Everyone loves it. I don't think anyone dislikes this track, and there's always been a lot of opportunities to do, a lot of overtaking and some good, clean racing in this one tonight.
I'd like to introduce you to Jean-Pierre Sneakers and I think Mike Crick when it comes to people who dislike Spa-Francorchamps.
Do they?
I could be mistaken. I know Jean-Pierre, but I think Mike Crick is not a fan of this place either. Yeah, it's there's a few people out there that don't like it. I think it's it's definitely one of those tracks that you like, but sometimes the races don't always kind of deliver sometimes, where it doesn't matter what it is, if it's real life or depending on what car, but it's always fun, at least on a quali lap. But yeah, it's interesting to see how the guys go out. And obviously, final round of the season, some people willing to get their championships sorted out. Apologize, we're not really able to bring you kind of the current standings right now. We're not really privy, as obviously kind of first seasons, we're kind of still testing things out. But as we undertake, I believe we're in quali right now. As Spa looking a bit, I was going to say there's a bit of sun in these angles, but it was looking a bit grey before at other parts of the track. But yeah, it should be one to watch out. I think there is a chance of rain or participation, as Iracing calls it. We all just got to call it as rain, but I think we're looking at about 10-20%, obviously for the race as well. But we shall see. And interesting to see how the balance is as well when it comes to iRacing, because obviously we kind of familiar with what the balance is like in the ACC. There are some cars that are particularly strong around Spa-Francorchamps. I can think of a couple, but yeah, George, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, not too many thoughts on that one because obviously it is a different platform, but I believe that most cars, there's a big variety of cars out here, and generally I think most cars are pretty good. It will be interesting to see and take an evaluation. I've started looking into iRacing a little bit. I haven't sort of gotten into it yet, but I will be looking very closely at this one to see which one it is, but it looks like there's a few Porsches out there at the moment. We're obviously looking at Patrick Johnson there and Babby going across the line with Hammond there. And the times look fairly respectable there at 2:16s at the moment. They're obviously not the same as ACC, but they are very, very quick for this platform.
Yeah, pretty quick times, and obviously seeing a few familiar names up the top, and Swan Struick, McAdam, Babby as well. A few people I'm expecting to go up there, like the aforementioned Josh Holmes, who does help run this series as well, and definitely very quick at it, I think, in the Audi. But yeah, smattering of Porsches, Mercedes, Aston Martins, and a few Ferraris here and there. Not as many as I feel like ACC. You don't have sometimes the Ferrari and McLaren popularity as they do in iRacing. Surprising, obviously, to see quite a few Porsches, so it definitely seems to be quite popular towards the front around here. And nice to see the old Mercedes as well in the form of John McAdam. I'm not too sure if Lucas Keys and Patrick Johnson are going to be out there racing tonight. I think I saw Patrick Johnston. Of course, there he is. He's P6.
I did see Lucas's name pop up before as well, so I think he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else are those boys going to do? They're going to pretend to have something else better to do? No, they're not. They're going to be here racing. But,
of course they are.
Right out in the Porsche. Don't really have too much to comment on this season. I did commentate one race where Lucas and Patrick did come first and second. Virginia International Raceway. It is kind of cool to get some of the different tracks that were kind of not used to with the form of ACC, and I believe we're not too far. I'm guessing this is Patrick Johnston. Yep, there we are. So just getting a little bit up to speed with the HUD right now. But yeah, it should be interesting to see how it goes. Just a couple of things. Actually, no, we'll focus on quality. I'll save it for later on. But you'll see what Patrick Johnston's time is. It's kind of confusing. We sometimes have to see what his current lap time, but he's gone very deep there at the bus stop chicane, and probably not ideal, but should set himself up for the next run. And does go 4 wheels off. I'm hoping it doesn't invalidate the next lap. I have no bearing on what iRacing does in terms of lets you get away with, but we shall see what happens with Patrick Johnston. But Glory Babby straight to the top there, 216 dead.
Yes, very, very good lap by Babby. We're still on there with Johnston, obviously heading down to go into a Rouge. He's going up through there, nice and tight, looks fairly stable through there, takes the curve nicely, and down the Camel Straight looks very settled. That Porsche especially going through there, where some of the other cars, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, we're going to be you've got to forgive me with some of the names. Le Coms, they're going to go into Le Coms at 5, 6, and 7. Turns in through there nicely. It's just taking a little bit of curb. Oh, there's a car that's gone out in the dirt. Yep, the one in front, but he's not there. He's not going to hinder him. So we're still with Johnson. Holmes looks like he's starting to put some good sectors in there. See a couple of purples and puts himself into second place. 0.030 behind Babby. Well done, good lap. See with Hignett now. He's coming around. I've got to try to pick up where he is. He's quite different to me. He's down at the bottom of the circuit there, so he's going into turns 14 and 15, and then he's got the long straight up to the bus stop. He's he's up on his Delta there. He's got a green and a purple there. Let's see how he finishes it. Hopefully he can just get it slowed down into the bus stop, come out of the last corner, and hopefully maintain that. That should put him up a couple more spots. He needs to gain a few more. I don't know how critical it is to be up the top here, or if you can run side by side with aero washing all this in iRacing, but we'll find out. It's coming out of the last corner. It's going to start accelerating. I think the finish line's just up ahead, and he has improved by his 0.3 behind. And McAdam now has gone to 215.7. Great lap by him.
I was going to say the Mercedes that's following behind Ben Hignett is John McAdam, and I had the feeling because he was really closing in despite Hignett still doing some good sectors that he was probably going to be on a quick lap, and unsurprisingly so, he went straight to the top by 8/100ths of a second ahead of Glory Babby, with obviously Josh Holmes there in the Audi 2/10 behind as well, all very close right at the front overall, so pretty spicy. I think half a second covers at least the top four. But John McAdam will be benefiting from a slipstream, but he's going to be right under the wing of Ben Hignett right now, which is not going to be ideal for obviously the money-making sector. But Ben Hignett is going to go very wide and invalidate, and does actually a very good job actually to get out of the way offline as well. So actually might kind of work out for John McAdam right now. We don't really have a delta, so to say, right now, but he's looking pretty good, hitting his marks all well and well. And the gap is slightly closing from people behind him, so I don't think a 15.7 is almightily safe. Despite definitely going to be pretty good, but he runs now down out of Pouon and into heading towards the campus right and left. Looking pretty good. Nice to see a Mercedes looking pretty good overall. And then now seeing the track is definitely on the sort of dim settings, where the sunset settings, where this part of the track seems to be definitely getting a bit of light, while some other parts of the track, particularly the first sector, is looking pretty shady to say the least. There's a good run out through Stavolo, and a run back down the back straight. I do apologise, I've got some hiccups developing, but we'll see how he tackles Blanchimont in the AMG, which has already had its replacement lined up. Finally, Mercedes is announced a replacement, but I think it's still going to be a few years away, and I don't think this V8 is unfortunately going to make it to the next car either. But nice to see the Mercedes potentially getting getting replaced finally. We'll see what John McAdams going to purple last sector again. So, and he did go faster by a 1/10.5. So down to a 2:15.6. So definitely the AMG driver looking very, very strong right now. But Josh Strick right there by 6/100ths just behind.
Yes, very, very close. So we'll see what if Babby can sort of tighten that up there. Yeah, but Josh Strix, yeah, done a very, very good time there. Here we are with Babby. He's going to start his next flying lap. Hopefully he gets a good acceleration. I like it when it's so tight up the top and it's within, 2/10 between 4 or 5 drivers. It makes it for a very interesting race and to see, different cars as well. So let's have a look at how he goes up through Rouge and through to Radion. He's going down the Camel Straight. How is he going to get it on the picks? He's going to wait in his last possible moment, get down and hit the brakes, turn in. Turns in pretty nice, takes a fair bit of curb there. The car looks fairly settled, a bit of extra curb there looks good. How's he going to turn out of here? Yes, nicely. Just clips a little bit of dirt, which means maximising the track's width. He's going to run Ravage into No Name. I think it's still called No Name here. Keeps sitting there. Oh, there's definitely dirt there. So, but he actually kept it nice and clean. Going into Poo. I think it's yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Sorry about that. Puon. There you go. Thank you for that. Ah, you're a good man. Good man.
No worries.
Going around there. Look, the lap's looking clean at the moment. His Delta, can't see his Delta at the moment, but it does look a little bit of dirt there. Would that hinder him? But it looks like he's getting on the throttle nice and early. I haven't seen the car step out or anything. Nice and clean into there. And now to the long straight. Let's see how he goes through Blanchemont and then into the chicanes or the new type of bus stop, if you want to call it the bus stop. They're called the chicanes at the moment. Blanchemont, I don't believe it's a lift. He's not lifting there. No, that's keeping it pinned all the way down. Needs to hit his braking point. The car looks pretty settled there. Going in the chicane, turn 1, last corner, coming out. Can he get the good drive out? Hasn't drifted super wide there. Is it slightly better? Oh, it is slightly... No, it maintained the same time. So... tried again with another flying lap. We've still got McAdam at the front with Josh in second, separated by 0.066.
Yeah, pretty close overall. As we get to the last 30 seconds of the session, obviously everyone is entitled to finish their rounds, and looks like, unfortunately, Glory Bappy potentially might have invalidated or got something wrong through a Rouge, as he's already decided to park up. He knows it wasn't going to be an improvement. But we see now Mr. Holmes in the Audi, and he's breaking down into the bus stop, getting it nicely turned in, using a lot of entry curb as well, which you can do. A good exit as well, and will just maybe cross the line to go again. But he looks like he is going to park up, not going to have the fuel, and I'm not sure if he improved on that lap, but didn't improve his position so far, as we see. That's unfortunate. That might be potentially. I'm not too sure if there's any other cars still on track.
Lucas
still
there. I think Lucas is still out there. Has he improved? Or is he improving? We'll find out in about 15 seconds. First sector's good. Second sector looks good. Just waiting for him to come up now. Here he is. Turns in a little bit in Digna 3. He's lost a little bit there. How's he going to go here? Nice and wide there. Coming across the line. Puts himself into 11th. 1.2 behind there. We'll be interested to see how he goes for the race. So, in first, we've got McCannon, followed by Josh, Babby, Holmes, Smith, Hignett, Johnson, Cook, and I just lost the rest. That's all right. Get the grid. And then I think we've got a special treat between qualifying and the race as well. Here we go. Johnson was in 7th, Cook was in 8th, Dyer was in 9th, and Hammond in 10th, rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, a little bit surprising to see Lucas Keys down there, but he may have decided to do this one a bit last minute and might have just gotten a bit of a arrive and drive, potentially the same with Patrick Johnson as well. But McAdam, Struick, and Glory Bradbury definitely looked all very quick up the top. Holmes and Dylan Smith as well, actually, shout out. We didn't really mention him. Yeah, rounding off that top 5. It should be interesting to see how things go. Brad Cook as well in the Corvette as well. So, yeah, there's a few cars that we haven't seen too much of, and nice to see 21 cars here at the end of the season as well. Let's see.
Yeah. Keep going.
I was going to say, I think the session is over and we'll probably get to that special thing you mentioned. Just a shout out as well, also, that we'll have the Adelaide 4-hour on the 18th of April. We're going to do the $50 gift card from Thermaltake. Thank you very much to Thermaltake, helping us run our series and also, doing these giveaways. We'll see who is the winner or the entrance on everyone who's raced in, I believe, last week. Just going to take over.
Oh, Neil Tutt.
I thought that was going the way of Stephen James, but it is going the way of Neil Tutt. So congratulations. I'm sure someone will reach out to you and get that sorted out. But yeah, sorry, the Adelaide 4 hours on the 18th of April are served for sort of our first enduro on iRacing. Should be quite interesting. 4 hours have got a mini enduro, so you can probably do it with obviously 2 mates quite easily with 1 hour apiece. And obviously after that as well, that'll be going on in between the first and second round of the season 2 as well as iRacing that we announced that it's obviously going full time. They'll be starting on the 8th of April at Adelaide as well, so you get a lot of Adelaide action for the first couple of rounds. It will be, and then followed by Spa as well. So definitely, if there's any concern that it's going to be potentially you're going to have you don't have to buy up a whole load of new tracks, you're going to get the most out of Adelaide and Spa at least tonight going forward.
Have you tipped your hand into iRacing at all?
No, absolutely not. It's not really something I wanted to get on board with. It's not really my thing. Do not really have the money to fund it either.
Fair enough. So we're just, I'm not sure how the formation lap starts on this one. It looks like it's a fair way back. Or how does the formation look? Rolling start? Yep. Just waiting for it to tick over. Other than that, it'll be interesting to see how all the cars go along here. It'd be interesting. I'm very curious to see how they actually follow behind in the aero wash, if they can stay close. So I haven't watched too much of this racing. I know that it's a pretty big thing around the world. iRacing's been around for, I don't know, have you got any idea how long it's been around? It's been around for a few years, this one, iRacing, as far as I know, but at least 20 odd years.
It's been around for a very long time. Definitely going on the 2015, I don't know, something around then. It's been around for at least 10, I can say. It's probably the last time I tried it.
Yeah, I'm just Googling it right now.
I believe, in the late 2010s, late 2000s. And
founded in 2003 to 2004. There you go.
Yeah, definitely looks it. I'm going to throw a lot of shade at iRacing. I'm not really of it. But it's I believe it was built off a existing NASCAR game as well, if I remember, or something along those lines. Some people already getting a little bit eager. You might want to filter back and find your place, young man in the Ferrari. But we are going to set off a sort of half formation lap as starting off all the way back here. But it should be interesting to see as well. It will be John McAdam on pole position. We'll have the inside line into La Source. And then obviously the Porsche as well, right on his heels in the form of Josh Druick and Mr. Glory Babby as well, right behind La Source. La Source because it's always quite tricky as well. We've seen him, it can definitely go quite wrong. As is a very tight apex corner, quite wide for a such a hairpin as well. But it's with everyone trying to being quite eager at the start, it's definitely one to watch out. And we do have a chance of rain as well. It's everything to bear in mind. It's a bit of a longer race than things that we're used to. There we go. There's some lovely DSL there. Potential. Ooh, it says 71% next to a raindrop. I'm not sure if that's an indication of what's to come. We shall see. Never know. Never know until it happens. But it looks pretty dry right now as they roll up into the last chicane. I'll leave get last thoughts from you before we get off.
Yeah. I'm not sure. What's the race length on this? 75-minute race, and yeah, hopefully I'd like to see a little bit of rain there because it does spice everything up. So coming into the last chicane there, I'll hand it over to you for the call because yes, you're right, turn one's going to be very, very interesting.
Yep, so we'll be John McAdam in the Mercedes alongside Josh Stewart in the black and purple Porsche on the left side of your screen. There's looking as they wait to cross the line. It's going to be a very short run, and it's definitely going to be in the way of John McAdam. And it's also like I might be actually wrong here. We might be going to the endurance start. I think we do. I've gone quite ahead of myself as well. It shows how little I know about iRacing, that's for sure. But we're going to do the normal start line as well that we kind of know and love from ACC. But it looks like they're already starting to get going, as the red lights must mean green in iRacing, I guess, because they're already well and truly gone. It's a big jump from John McAdam. Josh Stroke is under threat now from Glory Babby, with the Audi of Josh Holmes right behind him as well, as the oil filter is in line for Eau Rouge, and Benjamin Hignett in the Aston Martin making a good start, getting ahead of Dylan G. Smith as well as they run down there. But bad run for John McAdam as he's really had to back up. Potentially he might have had a false start as John Masurik going to run along the outside potentially into Las Sales and does get him around the outside, but the Mercedes still has a nose ahead for the final part. He gives him racing room. Wheeled on the dirt as well as the other Mercedes there. I believe a Will Hammond gonna unfortunately get a wheel in the dirt and lose a position potentially to Dylan Smith, or the other way around I should say. But it looks like Josh Stewart is taking the lead, and Glory Babby looking to pounce into No Name to make contact because it was a quite late move, and Josh Holmes is going to be on the right side of the Porsche now into Buhan. Not going to be ideal for Josh in the Audi outside, but it's going to be, he's going to filter in line. That's sensible driving for Josh. No point trying to run himself out wide, but a good run on the exit as well. Going to really still give Glory Babby a lot of hassle right now, as the Mercedes really attacking the back of the Aston Martin of Benjamin Hignett, as Will Hammond in the black Mercedes getting a really good start and going to draw alongside those two as well, but doesn't make it done into the chicane. But interesting to see. Yeah, I wonder if that was a false start for McAdam, because it looked like he really jumped and left, but then really backed up. I don't know if he had a slowdown penalty potentially through Eau Rouge, but it did cost him the lead as a result.
Yes, I'm wondering if when he went up Eau Rouge, he might have tried to avoid some track limits. I don't know how the track limits work in iRacing, but
you get a slowdown penalty. You have to slow down if you cut the track.
And maybe that's what happened to him, which allowed Josh to get in front of him. Babs obviously going in. He's on the inside, on the outside, going into the chicane. Can he hold it? That Porsche definitely looks like it's got the typical nice front end as they do in other forms of racing. So yes, he has jumped McAdam now. Now, can McAdam get in nice and close behind him, get that little bit of a drive? We know the Mercedes is going to be very good. Coming out of the source, get the power down, and then head down to Rouge and ready on. Let's see if they can keep that on the track and not lose any time, and see if they can try to catch up to Josh, who's just edging away. He's 1.5 in front, just edging it away slightly. Looks like they've got across there. Doesn't look like any cars slowing down. And then we've got obviously Holmes. Oh, Holmes is actually closing up on the Merc, and so is everybody else. I don't know, was that, again, a little bit of track lead going to lose, but he definitely looks like he loses a fair bit going into through Rouge and Radion. Now going into Com. Can he maintain that? He's on the inside. How does the Audi go? The Audi under brakes, turning in, holding it side by side pretty good. Nice clean racing so far here. Now coming into No Name, who's going to get into there? Yes, he's just lost another position. Now there's another You got Hammonds also there putting a lot of pressure. This is actually some pretty good racing between these guys. Nice and fair.
Good stuff. Oh, Ben Hignett goes wide there at Puon. He was really under attack from Will Hammond in the black Mercedes, who has had a really good start overall. I was going to say Lucas Keys did a great job to get up to P8 from P11, but I think he got a slowdown penalty at Eau Rouge down Kemmel Straight, so he's gone all the way back down to his qualifying position. Patrick Johnson did get lose a few positions off the start as well, but he's now on the back of this track as they're all starting to, kind of concertine behind the Mercedes of John McAdam, who's had a, unfortunately a very bad start, losing 3 positions all the way down to P4 right now. And it will see what Ben Hignett is able to do. But it was a good move by Josh Holmes as well to get around the outside into the Bruxelles chicane. But fair racing as well from John McAdam. Left in the racing room, didn't just kind of brake late and use the Audi as a kind of and just fed him out to the outside of the track. But already starting to get put the Audi back under a little bit of pressure going into the bus stop. But they really don't want to let those 2 Porsches get away at the front right now. Yeah, I'm interested to see if McAdam is really kind of struggling, or if there's any kind of delta in strategy right now. 75-minute race, so I trust there'll be a pit stop in this. I do apologize for my lack of iRacing knowledge, but generally 75 minutes might be a bit touch and go for most GT3s, no matter what discipline. Not insurmountable. We have seen it in ACC, but the rate they're going right now. So this looks really. Oh, he's got one wall, baby. No, he doesn't. He just skims alongside, but he's going to lose 1, 2 from Ben Hignett and Will Hammond. And I think he's got to slow down as well, but he's really losing pace right now. And he's going to get passed by potentially Patrick Johnson as well in the green Porsche. Yes, he is. So, yeah, lost the position from 4 positions in all of that with a bad run. And, Leo Dreyer in the Porsche really making his statement known. So, absolute calamitous start for the pole position man, John McAdam. We've got a lot of J's in this field, so forgive me. But, unfortunately, it's gone from bad to worse. 3 Eau Rouges in a row. The Ferrari 296, potentially, I believe, of Alistair McLeod getting a big sideways moment on the exit of Bruxelles and then losing a few positions as a result as well.
Yeah, obviously that's 3 laps in a row that Josh has had issues going up Rouge and Radion. So obviously the car's not quite settled through there. He's obviously track limits there. You could just see that the back end wasn't stable. He got a snap of oversteer that kicked him out to the right and almost hit the fence, but he was able to pull it up. I'm wondering if that's a lot of aero wash behind that car, so that's going to be interesting to see if he can get into some clean air and see if that improves that. But definitely it does look like a handful that Mercedes going up through there at the moment, especially considering he was the pole man. I'm wondering what's going on there. Maybe here we go. There's a bit of a replay here. What's happening here? We're on board with Fleming. Oh, yep.
Just going
for a round. Yeah.
On the exit of Puon, not going to do those tyres any good. Looked like he was following Lucas Keys. Come back to John McAdam as well. Still kind of being harassed a bit by Leo Dreyer and Lucas Keys just behind them as well in the pink and sort of a neon yellowish green Porsche behind them as well. And as Patrick Johnson's gone for a spin and has got to find the wall at the pit lane potentially. Does face through the cones, but unfortunately, striking resemblance to the replay that we did see on the exit of Puon. The real Porsche just spins around, and he has taken a tow back to pits. Unfortunately for Patrick Johnston.
Yeah, that's a shame. Obviously, the fish is it looks like Lucas has jumped up there. She goes past McAdam as well. What's going on? Just a little bit wide, and had this. You can see the oversteer starting nice and early. Don't know what the damage is on these cars once you hit the wall, how bad it is, but it looked like Lucas just jumped Smith as well, and it looks like McAdam's had another issue, obviously going up through Rouge and Radion. So I'm wondering if that's because of high fuel and his setup is not quite right for high fuel to do 75 minutes. He's going to have pretty much to a close to a full tank. I'm not sure if they've got any pit stops here.
Yeah, not too sure as well. Dylan Smith also in the same liveried Mercedes is also at the moment, because he was ahead of these 2 Porsches. Same with John McAdam, but they've both fallen behind on the run through Eau Rouge. So maybe the Mercedes is really not being not a nice car to handle on full fuel through Eau Rouge and Radion. The car looked like it was, just judging from the rear-facing camera that we saw a few while ago, it looked like the car was kind of understeering wide and kind of finding the bit where the bit of the track where it starts to dip away and goes off camber, which induces a bit of the rear to start to come around. And then we obviously saw what happened to John McAdam. He had to take a big slide and had to catch it all up, and got away from planting it in the fence. But he's still going. I don't think he's got any damage on that car. Probably only damage to his pride a little bit, unfortunately, going from pole position all the way down to P9. But it was to see Lucas Keys now giving Leo Dreyer a lot of heat right now, Porsche on Porsche. But a good run out of the bus stop chicane for Leo Dreyer is not going to make it too easy for Lucas into last source. We'll see how his run goes for Eau Rouge, and he's got to be wary because he's got the two Mercedes of Dylan Smith and John McAdam right behind him as well. And might try and stay on board with these two. We'll see how these two Mercs handle this time around through Eau Rouge. Not going to be ideal for Dylan Smith. He's going to be he's kind of too close to the Porsche right now. It's not going to be ideal. He's going to have aero wash, and he's kind of a little bit unsighted. They seem to take a bit of a shallower line, and that looked not too bad, but it looks like potentially a bad run for Dylan Smith. Is going to give John McAdam potentially a chance. He's right up there in the slipstream. Dylan is not going to defend, but he's going to try and get the slipstream off the Porsche up ahead, but it's not going to be enough for the overspeed of John McAdam due to that better run through Eau Rouge and Radion.
Yeah, the other thing I'm not sure about is what the tyre modelling is in this thing, and maybe it takes a few more laps for the Mercedes to get the tyres into the optimum window to give it a little bit more grip, because obviously this is lap 5, they might be coming into their window now, but it looks like that Dreyer is... Sorry, I should say McAdam's back in front, isn't he?
Yeah, he just got him on
Smith.
the straight.
Yeah, got him on the straight. So obviously maybe his tyres are starting to come into the window now. It's all starting to settle down now. It's burning off a little bit of fuel, and the car might come back to the party. But obviously he's dropped about 8.5 seconds down, but there's still a fair bit of racing to go here. So there's still just over an hour. So he's got plenty of time to catch back up. And obviously he wants to be, a thorn in Lucas as well. Lucas is trying to actually get past Dreyer, but can't quite do it yet. Just needs to get a good run. I did see him coming out of La Source. He had a little bit of a slide, but he's actually caught up to him now. Let's see how he goes under braking. We've known that Lucas has always been very, very good under braking, but obviously iRace is slightly different. He's tucked in behind him. How he's going to go here? He's protecting the inside line. Dreyer is protecting inside just nicely, and gone now straight out of there. Back onto the straight again, going over the start-finish line. It's interesting how we start the race going down the hill to go to Rouge, but the finish line in most games is always on that front straight there where the Formula Ones normally start.
Yeah, indeed, something for the endurance layouts, but we'll see how these boys, we'll kind of keep a keen eye on the Mercedes, how they tackle Eau Rouge. The Porsches definitely seem to be taking it a little bit better. A little bit curb usage there for Lucas Keys. I think he got away with it, and potentially a better run on Leo Dreyer. He is actually catching Lucas Keys on Leo Dreyer quite a bit, and I'm not sure it's going to be enough. He's getting close. He ducks out potentially to distract Leo, but it isn't going to be enough, and he's not able to stake a claim into Lacombs, unfortunately. But it is going to be line astern for these four overall. There's still Dylan Smith on the tail end of John McAdam in the same liveried Mercedes, with the Ferrari just behind as well, not too far away. And these guys aren't too far away from the cars up ahead as well. But you definitely feel like potentially Leo is holding up Lucas Keys and potentially even John McAdam as well. But he's doing everything he can. It is a motor race, and he is very much doing everything he needs to. There's no team orders here or anything like that. We want to see proper racing.
Absolutely. Oh, he's having a bit of a look there, McAdam. No, just sticking it in there to see if he can unsettle Lucas, but he's a wily old veteran there, Lucas. He knows how to handle himself with cars behind him. He's
Leo's having to get real defensive right now. Might be a bad run to Stabilo. Sorry not to cut over you, but
no,
Leo's
go.
a little bit more on the ropes right now, and they're really nose to bumper coming onto the back straight. It's not so straight though. That's where we're going to go right and left, and you can see how little gap there is between. And I'm sure the Mercedes are getting closer and closer. Through Blanchimont we go, and what's it going to be for the bus stop? Leo's been defending the inside. John McAdam in the Mercedes, not really able to do anything from this distance, and unfortunately Lucas is actually going to get really potentially passed by John McAdam. He stakes the nose up the inside, but not able to make it for the second part, but it is going to affect the exit for the Porsche and the Mercedes. And Lucas already going defensive, hugging the right side or giving the inside for the first corner of Stabilo as well, but he is going to park it up on the inside, potentially a crisscross and a better exit though for the Mercedes. The run down to Origes. He's already signed a duck out, which means he's probably alongside. He very much is alongside, so it is potentially going away. Who's going to back out first? Are they going to go side by side? Well, John McAdam plays it safe and backs out, and unfortunately might get a bad run, and Dylan Smith might be there to capitalize, but Lucas ruthless and not going to give that one up, not swear, but even if he was on the ropes.
Yeah, so like I said, Lucas is very good at what he does, racecraft. Great driving between both those guys, side by side going through the chicane. That was great to see. They're showing respect to everybody, but at the same time, they're trying to drive hard. It's not going to be easy to get past it. Oh, a little bit wide there by Leo. That'll allow Lucas to catch up to him again and just tighten up the bunch again to go for that long drag down to the launch and into the chicane again. They just need to tighten it up. Obviously, the fight between... a little bit, McAdam's gone wide. That fight between McAdam and Lucas allowed him to just get a few tenths out in front, but they're going to obviously hunt him down now. Pouon through there, he's getting a nice drive. But that Mercedes, that obviously looks like it's just getting stronger and stronger with every lap coming down, so it might be the fuel and the tyre modelling just to get that into the nice window. A little bit of tap on the brake there, get it to slow down and rotate. Coming into the last section there, turns 14 and 15, and get that long drag. Now, obviously, Lucas is not quite as close to the Porsche as he was before. Would this help McAdam get a little bit of an overrun on Lucas down this long straight? Let's see what happens. Maybe Smith could give a bit of a bump draft. I don't know if you're allowed a bump draft in this one in iRacing. Yeah, let's have a look. We're behind... with McAdam now following Lucas. It looks like he's got a little speed in the slipstream there, but I've been tipping Lucas is going to protect the inside. No, McAdam's going for it. Let's see if he can get in there side by side. No, he's going to be compromised, obviously coming out again. Definitely, and that allows Smith to get a little bit excited as well. Coming to turn one, let's see what happens this time. Going into turn, McAdam's going for it. He's dived in. Can he keep it nice and tight and get the pad of the ground? I think he's just marginally in front. Let's see the drag between the Mercedes and the Porsche. I think the Mercedes is slightly in front. Yes, he is. Lucas is going to tuck into on. Let's see how the Porsche handles the aero wash through erosion and ready on. It handles it pretty good now. Does it get the overrun? Yeah, that Merc is definitely looking a lot more settled now after a few more laps under its belt to get that tyre model in. And here we go. Smith's having a quick look. No, just showing his nose there. Well, good racing between all three of them.
Yeah, it was a good move as well from John McAdam, but Lucas gave him the room as well as they run through the bus stop. Oh, a bit of a bad run though on the exit. Lucas having another look, trying to scare McAdam, but not falling for it for Bruxelles. But yeah, it was a good scent from McAdam, and I think Lucas knew that he was potentially going to be fighting a losing battle on the exit of turn one, and did tuck back into the slipstream. The Mercedes was too far ahead, so interesting to see how John McAdam, gets after Leo Dry now. He's clearly got pace, and I think he, had to maybe kind of take a few laps to find his rhythm back again. Obviously may have not known what the car was like on heavy fuel for the first couple of laps, and obviously being overtaken by all the other cars probably didn't help him find his rhythm either. But it definitely looks like he's kind of got things back under control. It's not going to be easy to get to get through all those cars to get back to where he started the race, but we shall see how things go on. But it's still going to be Josh Struick, just to count on the leaders again. It's still Struick ahead of Babby and ahead of Holmes. for the top three as well. Will Hammond there in P4 and Hignett in P5 in the Aston Martin. There is a bit of a gap because of all that fighting. There's about nearly a 5-second gap between Dreyer and Hignett. So all that fighting has kind of resulted in that gap opening up. So if McAdam gets Dreyer, he's got a fair few seconds to back up. Still, as we got just under an hour left, it's already nearly been 20 minutes into this race, and yeah, still kind of curious on what. Unfortunately, don't really have any reference point or benchmark for what the pit stops are going to be like, what the consumption is going to be like as well for these cars, because I can't imagine anyone's running lower fuel maps right now with the rate that we've seen some of these cars going, at least not the ones we've been watching, because the battle has been immense to say the least. Keep an eye on Lucas Keys as well. He did get overtaken by John McAdam, but he's still got a lot of pace in there. I've seen a yellow next to Benjamin Hignett's. Well, I'm not too sure what it is. Slow down penalty in my ears. Thank you very much to Glenn on that one. So, watching Ben Hignett, said that that gap has opened up. It's now definitely come back the way towards Leo Dreyer. So that gap has now been still kind of trying to get it gone. I'm not sure if it is just the indicator hasn't gone away, but yet there we go. Finally, so the way that iRacing does, instead of track limits, you get kind of a slow down penalties. So if you're deemed of, taking advantage of a track limit, you basically have to slow down and give up an X amount of time in the next 30 seconds. So usually it's like, from what I've seen from other people streaming, you have to give up like 2.5 seconds. Seeing a bit of smoke up ahead, that's a weird place. Nope. I was expecting a spun car or something like that, because it's weird to see about that much time soak at the exit of Pouhon. Obviously, we saw what happened to one of the Porsches earlier in the race, what happens there. But yeah, you can see that the Aston Martin only just ahead of these guys. And speaking of which, John McAdam is all over the back of the Porsche. And we'll see how his run goes onto the back straight.
Yes.
A bit of gravel getting on track. That's something iRacing actually does pretty well. You see the gravel starting to accumulate on the track because everyone's taking a few dips at it.
Yeah, and a couple of the low ground behind the cars. You can also see a lot of the rubber and the stones flicking up as well, which is a good view. Now, let's see. Does John have a good run under brakes? He's going to try to tuck it in. No. Leo seems to be pretty good into the chicane there. The other guys have gone wide, but I think it's going to be a matter of time. That Merc is definitely looking a lot better, that's for certain. But Leo definitely looks like he's a little bit of a cork because they're all sort of bunched up again. Hopefully he can sort of maintain that pace. He's actually driving very well. He's not, cutting anyone off. He's just putting his car in the right spot. Let's see how he goes through here. But like I said, nice view here to see how this Merc goes up through here. Bit of sparks off the Porsche there. It was a great line there. He's got a little bit of a run there. He's in the slipstream. Is it long enough to be able to tuck in and get down there? But I'll be tipping Leo will be taking the inside line. It's not quite close enough, so he'll be able to go onto the pits there, stop it, and get in and out. What do you think, instead of doing the track limits and slowing the car down, what are your thoughts on that one?
Hard to really say. Is Josh McAdam? He had John McAdam. Sorry, had to hit the brakes mid-corner because he was carrying that much more speed. Didn't want to go into the back of the Porsche. It's hard to say. I haven't really raced with it, so it's definitely quite brutal. If you do take that advantage, you end up losing a second or two. It's I don't really know. I like how LMU kind of does their penalty system. I'm a bit biased towards LMU, to be fair, to be honest, but the way you kind of get a sliding scale of penalties, if it's only a tiny little gain. Oh, John McAdam's showing the nose again, but just to intimidate the Porsche. But you'll see his run through campers as well into Stabilo. I kind of prefer LMU, where you if you only gained a little cut, you only get like 0.5 out of you, and you've obviously got like a budget of 4 points or something like that. But if you take a big cut, you get like 2 points instantly. It's like a license point system in real life. But yeah, John McAdam really getting stuck under the back of the Porsche, and now obviously Lucas Keys is right there trying to maybe give a little bit of a return serve. And really up close on the back of the Mercedes going through Blanchimont. Definitely get a better run. What will happen into the bus stop? John McAdam goes actually aggressive. Leo's going defensive and so close to the back of everyone. Everyone's doing a very good job racing very cleanly out there. But surely there's going to be a little bit of frustration for Mr. McAdam in the Mercedes, and potentially as well for Lucas Keys as well. Dylan Smith is kind of just hanging back here and just kind of here to pick up any freebies potentially, and if he gets a run, he gets a run. We'll see what he can do, but he's got a hard case to get past with obviously Lucas Keys as well. But yeah, Leo's doing enough on these exits to really getting away from McAdam in some of these corners more so than others. And the run through Arouge, the Mercedes just definitely doesn't look as good as the Porsche. The Porsche's carrying more speed generally through Eau Rouge, or looks a little bit easier to do Eau Rouge consistently. I apologize. But you can see Lucas getting really close, but not able to get anything done, and very late on the brakes as Leo actually has a moment and has to cut the part of the track. He's going to rejoin, and he's surely going to have the mother of all the slowdowns. Yes, he does. You can see that he's already having to give up. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3, and going to fall back behind Dylan Smith as well, so not too surprising. He did have to take a big cut there. It looked like he maybe snatched a rear brake or carried a bit too much speed, and the rear just couldn't handle it through the first part of the Lecombe chicane, but has unleashed John McAdam and Lucas Keys right now.
Yeah, Leo was doing a fantastic job there, protecting that position, and the relentless pressure from McAdam, Keys, and Smith obviously got him to just snap that little bit of a break. I was actually a little bit disappointed. I was hoping him to keep that position for a few more laps, because I could see that McLeod and Sweeney were slowly but surely catching up to this group, and it would have been, a good 6-way battle. You could see McLean, I should say. McLeod. Sorry, what was that, Glenn? Yeah, McLeod. Yeah, he was catching up there because there's a little bit of a cork in the bottle. It would have been interesting to see a 6-way battle there, but now that opens up McAdam to see if he can hunt down Hignett. Looks like he's 2.5 seconds with plenty of time to catch up to him. We'll see. Obviously, we'll be interested to see what the pace is on the Merc on the Aston Martin, but I believe he should be able to close up. Is he closed up a little bit there? Yeah, by 0.2 just on that lap alone. 2:16.3 from McAdam. That is a very nice time. So he just needs to get his head down there and just drive smooth, and hopefully people like Lucas and Smith could just work together to sort of start closing these gaps up a bit. The more they fight between each other, the more it hurts themselves, but obviously they've gotten through there pretty smooth. Now obviously Lucas is just going to try to drive as smooth as he can to try to catch back up again. Going down to Camel Straight, there's a little bit of gap, a little bit of stalemate here at the moment. I can see Josh out in front. He's opened up a very nice gap of 3.4 seconds over Babby, then followed by Holmes and Hammond. And then obviously Hignett, McAdam, Keys, Smith following down into 8th. There's the times coming up there. They're all doing mid-16, so there's nothing there that's sort of standing out to say that anyone's quicker than anybody else. So it's going to be pretty hard to close up with those type of times. It's going to be 10th here, 10th there going through.
Yeah, going to be close gaps overall. McAdam was the quickest driver on the last lap, which kind of indicated, now him being unleashed. It's kind of a statement of pace. And definitely, actually, surprisingly, the Mercs seem to be, at least Dylan Smith and John McAdam seem to be actually very strong in the Mercedes through the second sector. The one with all the corners, you think with the big V8 that the Mercedes would be kind of dominating down the straights, but they seem really, really strong in the mid-sector, and definitely in the case of McAdam, we always had the purple mid-sector in qualifying. But you can see that the Porsche of Lucas really, really under a lot of threat from the Mercedes, but on the straight is able to kind of just keep him at bay, getting nothing in the slipstream ever so slightly. Goes defensive, and Dylan's having a look at the inside, but can't really get anything done from this distance as well. Still kind of trying to incite a bit more of a mistake from the Porsche driver. But yeah, the Mercedes looking pretty good down in some aspects, but not actually gaining too much in the slipstream. I was going to say, people give LMU a lot of flack for its slipstream effect or lack thereof, but maybe it's actually more of a difference in the setup of these cars as well. Maybe there's a bit more wing on the Mercedes than there is on the Porsches, and obviously hence why the Porsche looking a bit more comfortable on the straights than the Mercedes. But going through Eau Rouge, pretty okay from everything from what I'm seeing. Obviously, Lucas built a bit of a gap right now. But are we going to see John McAdam already starting to get away and get after Ben Hignett as well. Only 1.4 seconds between those two as well. So I think that'll be our next upcoming battle, potentially. I'm not sure if Dylan Smith has enough. Oh, very, very wide there from Lucas Keys, catching the gravel, not getting a slowdown penalty though. I think you're A-okay to go as wide as you like out there, but definitely not ideal. And you'll see here Taylor Simmons on the back of Lee. Brad Cook in the Corvette just up ahead as well. And Brad Cook had a not too actually great start and started in the top 10, I believe, around P8. And obviously it dropped down to P11. But yeah, going well so far. Kind of just getting by in the Corvette. Obviously, maybe it's not to his style or his liking or the car to this track. And Jaden Rondinella in the Mustang. I was going to say with real lack of Mustangs in iRacing. Porsche, Liam Kay just behind him as well, with Michael Clark just behind him as well in the Evo Aston Martin. There's Jaden, I'm not sure if he's just getting past these guys or is potentially actually quite under a bit of threat, as it turns out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, if he can start pulling away or if he's under threat, but it looks like the Porsche seems to be a very cool car. The one thing I've noticed about the Porsche, it seems to get pretty good traction coming out of the corners, but where he sort of gets a little bit of a break, and then on the straights, obviously the Merc starts to close down. So I think that's what helps the Porsche a little bit, especially coming out of these slow corners. We're back on to Jaden's got a little bit more of a gap. Obviously the Ford's going to have a little bit. Oh, here we go, bit of a lunge there by Kay. Liam, yeah. Oh, disappeared there for a second. Oh my God, physics. But he's definitely got a good run out of there. I'll be tipping into the turn one in front. He's a guy that tends to fight it pretty hard as well. Yep. Liam got into there nicely. Now accelerated. The Porsche just accelerated there. Now it'll be interesting to see what the difference is between the Ford and the Porsche on the straights, or is the Porsche going to pull away? Looks like he's got a bit of a gap there. Don't think he's close enough to get the slipstream. Oh, you see Jaden is just fighting that Porsche up there through a Rouge and ready on there to keep it straight without copping a limit there. Definitely looks like it's got a bit of pace there on the straights. Definitely closed up a bit on there. So, he's going to dive? No. Let's see what happens on the next one. Obviously, once he gets around down to the long straight to the chicanes, will that Ford have a lot more grunt? They both coming into obviously turn 8 now. Coming down into No Name. Let's see what happens down the bottom. Coming through, yeah, the Porsche just making a bit of a gap. Obviously around the corners it looks like it's a little bit better. Flashing his lights, he must be hearing us. Jaden's turned in. Can he keep there? It's a little bit wide. Oh, the Aston definitely has gone wide there. But no track limits there. Didn't see any penalty come up there to slow down. Oh, Jaden's just fought it there to turn in. You saw the Ford did not want to turn in at all then. It's gone a bit wide. All right, we're back on to McAdam on Hignett. Is he going to go under the brakes? No. Hignett's been able to hold it. This is definitely starting to tighten up now with these two guys. Going over the line. Let's see what happens in the next lap. He's just finally caught up to him. Let's see the difference in speed between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin going into turn 1.
Yeah, again, a good run from the Aston Martin on the exit, and I'm not sure if John McAdam's going to be able to get close. We'll see how the runs go through Eau Rouge, and let's see how the Aston Martin copes. Cutting things nicely. Quite a shallow turn in for the Aston Martin. maybe suffering a little bit there on the exit, but still good enough to keep Josh. I keep calling him Josh. We've got Josh Holmes and John McAdam. I keep getting mixed up between the two. It's late, but he did get a good run and gets close, but not close enough. And feigns the nose out and tries to intimidate the Aston Martin. Our fellow broadcaster Ben Hignett done a great job over this last season with Glenn as well, bringing every race live. You know, without them, we'd have nothing to talk over. And they're the ones that really kind of put up a lot of their own free time and effort. But going to run down through down to Puon, I should say. Not looking too bad. Obviously, in case of John McAdam, definitely looking pretty strong, but can't just go through a car, and potentially might be a bit wide there from the Aston Martin, and a good run on the exit, looking into the camper chicane, but not able to get anything done. But the Aston did have to go defensive, but does have the racing line and will not yield so far. Was how to run through Stavolo. Getting also close. I swear, John McAdam's been strong as all race, quite frankly. He's really on the coattails of everyone when he gets through to Stavolo, but I'm not sure it's really ever enough for him to get a good run down into the bus stop. But he's only less than half a car length. But he's going to get close, but he's going to get close right to Blanchimont, but the Aston has to go defensive, and he's potentially going to compromise his run through Blanchimont, but it looks pretty good so far, and he's not going to take the defensive line, but he's going to be late enough on the brakes that John McAdam can't get anything done, can't send it up the inside, so going to be a little bit harder to get. Oh, big slide on the exit, and going to compromise him a little bit with the bad run. Does catch it all the same, but we'll see. It's like going defensive into turn one. John McAdam goes to the outside, takes the normal racing line, looking for a crisscross potentially before the run down to Eau Rouge, but Ben Hignett gets it stopped quite nicely, but a good exit, but it's actually going to be enough for the Mercedes to draw alongside, and I think he's going to creep ahead. It might be on Ben Hignett to back out, but he's right there on the line, and he isn't going to compromise. He is going to try and roll through, but I think he might got a track limit. Yes, he does. You can see the yellow marker next to his name, so he is going to be ahead on track, but not for much longer. I imagine he's going to have to really back off, but he did not want to compromise whatsoever. John McAdam might be the one to gain out of all this, but we'll see what happens. He's electing not to let it go on the straight, but they run through now through Les Combes, and surely after a while he's got 30 seconds to hand back that time in the game, and you can see there he's having to let go, but he's and there's John McAdam going to fiend it up the inside. He has given up the time, but they are going to draw alongside still, so he isn't going to lose position completely, and he's going to have the inside for No Name, and John McAdam looking for the crisscross under Puon, so really tactically done, but John McAdam with enough of a run to get a draw alongside, nose to nose. They're going to phase a little bit into Puon, and the Aston Martin's going to get touched and potentially turn around. No, he doesn't. He catches it all up. Oh, you knew it was going to spill over. Those two are really going at it, and now Lucas Keys potentially will pick up the pieces ahead of Ben Hignett, and yes, he does, into the camper chicane. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, that was very, very good. I enjoyed Hignett, the way he actually manipulated that time penalty. Did it in the right part of the track to keep it there. Obviously, was compromised going into No Name there, but very well done. Most other people, like myself, I probably would have lifted straight away and got overtaken, but he fought it very, very well. Yeah, a little bit of a touch there side by side. I would say that is a racing incident, but I'll leave it up to the stewards. To me, I think that's a racing incident. They were both fighting pretty hard.
I think the situation where they were both hugging the inside side by side on the inside, so none of them were going to take an ideal line through Puon, and I'm not too surprised it ended the way it did, because one of them had to back out and neither of them backed out. One could argue John McAdam had the inside. One could argue that Ben Hignett had the right to try and hold it around the outside as well. But how shallow their entry was, I think it was not too surprising they came to contact, because I think they both would have struggled to actually make the corner side by side. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's definitely not that is a very, very fast corner, and you definitely can't take that as a shallow line. It will compromise you. Yeah, let's start. No, obviously, yeah, they're only getting. Yeah, it'd be interesting, obviously, depending if they can go longer.
Yeah, with this, yeah, half and half, or if they're splitting it, maybe Josh at the front. They've got, a lot of fuel in, but with the speed that they got, it'd be interesting to see what plays out. So obviously, there's definitely going to be a pit stop. I don't know if it's a mandatory for this one or if they can make the full 75 minutes on deck. It's going to be interesting to see towards the end there, especially with McAdam pushing pretty hard to try to catch up to. Obviously, he's gotten past Hignett and all that. Now he's going to try to catch up to Hammond. He is 8 seconds behind. It's going to be a bit of a tall order to close, especially if the time's been so close. But you can see here now we're on board with Hignett putting a lot of pressure on Lucas. It's good to see that occasionally Lucas gets pressured by other drivers. I'm sort of I've been on the receiving end of Lucas being a serial pest behind me over the years, so hopefully we can get other people to become a serial pest to him occasionally. It'd be nice to see.
Yeah,
obviously.
Indeed.
Sorry. Coming into Blanchimont there, obviously Lucas is going to try to. Interesting will be the fuel loads here to see what happens, depending on obviously the fuel rate that gets burnt here. Oh, here we go. He's gone in. Hignett has gone in for his pit stop, so he was running low fuel. So that's going to be interesting towards the end there to see how everything goes. That's all just short of 40 minutes. We've got probably at least another 40 and a bit minutes. Oh, what was the bump there? What's going on with the bumps there? Look at that. It's the speed bumps. I like it. Just see the car bouncing off that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on there. He's electing to run it right up against the wall. Don't know if that's frustration or if he knows he's just playing along for the camera right now, but obviously the longer straight. I'm kind of curious with how the format for this race, whether it was a managed stop or not. Quite frankly, the fact that they're stopping it doing a 45-45 split even strategy or something along those lines relatively would indicate maybe they would take tires, because surely if it was just unless there's a minimum fuel time for the pit stops, you would do you could do 75 minutes on the tires and just take a little splash and dash at the end. That would indicate a little splash and dash right now, because considering he wasn't stopped for very long, probably less than 8 seconds, I would wager. So it definitely gets going. So I don't think there'll be a tire change in that one, but I wonder if there is just a mandatory stop where they just elected to. I mean, quite frankly, you could have, unless I'm guessing there might be some minimum fuel pit stop time. You can't just take your pit stop isn't dictated by the liters that you take. If I was to guess, we don't know. Quite frankly, we're probably wrong. But Ben Hignett, still kind of thinking about his little battle there with John McAdam. I think Hignett's uncompromising nature was good for us watching in racing, but I think it did cost him ultimately, and it kind of went back to Eau Rouge, where they both didn't want to back out, and arguably I think John McAdam actually had the claim into Eau Rouge, but the Aston Martin elected to hold it around the outside, did obviously cut Radion and get the slowdown penalty, but did engineer it into such a way where it actually meant that he didn't lose the position completely, so which was pretty impressive to say the least. But unfortunately, the uncompromising nature did unfortunately compromise him in Pouhon. I wonder what his tyres would feel like if he hasn't changed those tyres. And you can see the Mercedes there, Dylan Smith not too far behind him, so hasn't lost much time to Dylan Smith at the very least, but not too sure whether Dylan Smith has lost a bit more time in his overall stop. We shall see. Not seeing too many of the leader cars coming in, so maybe they're on a bit more of an optimum strategy or whatever works for them. Might be a bit of an indicator of their kind of pace as well for Ben Hignett. Obviously, maybe had less fuel at the start.
Yeah, it looks like Will's caught up to Holmes as well, or Hammond on Holmes as well. They're only separated by 0.8. I don't know if they've closed up or if Holmes gotten past. I think Holmes is in front. Look, this could be obviously fuel as well. If that's playing a big part, I don't believe these guys are stopped, not considering they're so close to the lead group. We're still waiting, obviously, for the lead group there, which is obviously Josh, Glenn, Joshua, will John Lucas to come into the pits. None of those have come in yet, so that's all going to change up and tighten up again. Oh, there's Fleming there getting a bit of a track limit there. He's got to slow down. Coming out. Here we go. We're on Dylan Smith at the moment. And there you go. Smith is just pulled out, turned in nicely, hit the picks and just gone in and out, slow in, fast out, keeping it nice and smooth. Doesn't climb onto the dirt, keeping it nice into there. I would be surprised if you'd have to, unless if it was a mandatory tyre stop, I would be, oh, here we go. Who's coming in? Oh, the leader is coming in now. He's coming down. Obviously, it's a bit of a long run here because obviously all the pit stops are normally done on the other side going downhill. Let's see how long his pit stop is to see if it is a tyre stop. I might even get a stopwatch to actually see what the pit stop length is once he's stopped. So he's just waiting around, and Lucas is in as well. So obviously this is the length. Again, we don't know if it's what they've taken or if that was a full tank. We'll find out at the end. We might try to ask some questions and see what we can get some answers out of that one. It's coming into a stop. Josh. Oh, there he is. Okay, he stopped. Let's have a look now. Having a look at the stop. Waiting. Oh, yeah, it's 15 seconds at the moment. 17, 18. I'll be tipping he's taking some tyres. 23. Yes, he's taken off now. So there's about 24 second stop. Let's see what happens with Lucas. Lucas is still there. About the same time. That's about the same gap. So I'll be tipping, yeah, they've taken a bit of fuel. So let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out towards the end there. Obviously, there's a couple more cars that will need to stop. We're back on with Holmes. And Hammond's putting a lot of pressure on Holmes now. Going down to turns 14 and 15, or a little bit of dirt there by Holmes that might compromise him a little bit. We know that Mercedes is pretty good in a straight line. Let's see how the Audi's in a straight line. Obviously, they're coming on to Blanchimont. Yeah, the Mercedes is definitely closing up there. Yeah, has he got enough of an overrun there to get him under brakes? It's going to be interesting. Come through there. He's protecting the inside line. Hammond's on the inside. Can he dive it in without making contact? Can he get the acceleration coming out? It's a little bit of a touch there, but Holmes is still on the inside there. He'll be protecting turn one. Will we get the under and overcut? He's gone out wide to see if he can get the slingshot coming out of the corner. No, he didn't. Now that's going to be the fight going down into a Rouge. The Merc, has he got the legs to overtake the Eddie? Looks like he might be just a hair's breadth in front. Yes, he is. It's going up. How is he handled up through Radion? Has he gone wide? No. Now it's up to the Audi. Can he get the slipstream going down to Camel Straight? But I think that Merc in the straight line is very quick. Let's see what happens once they can look calm. No, I think the Merc's definitely got this sorted. It's definitely a very, very quick car in a straight line. And yeah, look, I think it's right at the start. It would have been just with slightly heavy fuel, time modelling, just trying to get everything in the window once they've got that sorted. Now the pace has come back into the Mercs. Good job, Hammond, to get past. Oh, here we go. Lucas onto Hignett. Can Lucas give a lot of pressure now? Now, is this tyre offset going to hurt Hignett? Most likely, I think he would get the drive going to turn one. Lucas is going to put the hammer down, and let's see how it goes through Rouge and Radion. See if Lucas can get that drive through there with potentially fresher tyres. If I'm mistaken, someone can bit of a curb hop there, but Lucas definitely got a bit of a run there. Does that Porsche have that straight line speed to keep up with the Aston? He's showing his nose a bit. Oh, definitely he's getting a bit of overcutty under brakes. No, he's going to obviously play the waiting game here, get him when he can. Obviously, now we're going to be in turn 7, now coming into turn 8. Then going to No Name. Can he get the drive? Nope. Lucas is obviously going to just wait where he knows where that Porsche is strong, and obviously he knows where the Aston's strong, so they're going to try to work their strengths to their advantage. Obviously, he's got a bit of a gap there. He's actually just pulled out a little bit. Maybe just takes a little bit longer. I don't know if there's an issue with tyres, if he hasn't taken tyres, if it takes a few laps to get those to work again. Here we go on Clark on Chad.
Yeah, Michael Clark giving Chad Pepperbridge a bit of a hassle there. But yeah, it was an interesting fight between Josh Holmes and Will Hammond. And unfortunately, I thought Jones had maybe had it back, but unfortunately, a little bit of a slide. It was a few laps ago now, but he did have that little bit of a slide on the exit of turn 1, which gave the Mercedes a run. But things looking okay so far. Not letting the Mercedes get away too much. And Glory Babby is still 5 seconds up the road from these guys, so not too far away. Nothing that's going to make a bit of a difference if there is an issue. Something to bear in mind as well. So there was the chance of rain. There is still a chance of rain for this race, but it hasn't been a factor, so it might have dictated people's strategies for it off the start. But obviously these guys going a little bit longer than most people. I did see there was a longer stop for Struick than there was for Keys. Difference of about 8 seconds between. It was 24 for Struick and about 26 for Struick, and Keys about 16 seconds. But I believe in iRacing you can also change individual tires, unlike ACC, where you have to change the whole set, which also may dictate the obviously reduce the amount of time for the overall pit stop. So we'll see how things develop. It's definitely hard to call from this one, but we've already got the top 8 that have yet to pit right now. Let's see what laps they boxed in on the right side of the timing tower, but Josh Holmes looking a little bit back of the Mercedes right now, but not able to get anything done right into the bus stop. But Will Hammond definitely the big gainer out of this race, to be honest. They're up 8 positions from their quality position right now. Obviously, the one of those is coming a bit of a freebie from Josh Struick taking their pit stop, but he has the one that's been gaining the most off the start from their quality positions, and definitely shown some aggression definitely at the start, but some really been keeping pace and biding his time. Didn't really suffer the sort of bad runs through a rouge that at least that we saw from the other 2 Mercedes of Dylan Smith and John McAdam. But doing enough to keep Josh Holmes at bay and carrying it Glory Babby. Kind of keep an eye on the Delta to see if he makes any inroads towards Glory Babby. And you can see John McAdam there in the silver Mercedes closing in as well. Seeing a bit of traffic up ahead, so I reckon some of those guys might box as these two gonna get very close and gonna rub a little bit between the panels with Liam Kay and Chad Pepperbridge. Chad's gonna have the inside though for No Name, and Liam's gonna have a real hard case of defending, getting past that one, and he's gonna find 2 wheels in the gravel, gives him a flash as well. And now the Aston Martin of Michael Clark's gonna go up the inside into P1. They're gonna run side by side. Racing room has been given, but Liam Kay is gonna come out on top with a better run around the exit with Dylan Smith in the Mercedes on the back of the red Aston Martin as well. Going to dive out and send it up the inside into the campus corner. But is going to get ahead of Michael Clark there. A decisive move from that better run. Oh, Michael Clark, a big slide and catches it all up through the gravel as well. Chad going very wide there through Peppy Ridge, through Stavilo 1. Then going to give Liam Kay a good run onto Stavilo 2 as well. Now the Mercedes still on the back of these guys as well. Potentially with a bit of tyre offset as well as Liam's trying to stay in the slipstream, and the Mercedes is going to steam through right now and get ahead into Blanchimont. That is a very good move, but it's not over just yet because Liam K, I thought he was alongside, but no, he's not. He's going to have the outside, and the Mercedes is going to defend the inside as well, and potentially Chad Pepperbridge going wide as well into the bus stop and going to lose out on the exit. So Dylan Smith has made up 3 positions there in a half a lap, so but it's not over, potentially going into turn 1, but I'm not sure Chad Pepperbridge is going to fight that one too much, but Liam K is definitely going to try and pounce and go through as well. They definitely want fighting Pepperbridge a little bit more, and they get very close on the exit, but the Mustangs have got a bit of a better run. I think Liam K was a bit annoyed with what happened at No Name last lap around, but I don't think he's going to win this one going into Eau Rouge, and he's sensible enough to get back in line before it and not compromise himself too much. But Dylan Smith's gone and cut across the whole of Eau Rouge and Radion, and surely that's going to give him a slowdown penalty. Yes, you can see the yellow box there. Liam K ducking out as he has the kind of fly pass as the Mercedes has to arrest some speed and give up that time gained as well.
Yeah, that time penalty might hurt him, and Clark might get in front of him because he's cleared that, so obviously slowed down enough to clear. He's gone wide again. He's just fighting that car. I'm wondering if when he's coming for the pit stop, he's decided not to take tyres, and it's just getting a little bit squirmy. And here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, Glory Babby's at the back of this train. He's really going to get held up in all of this. He's the Porsche at the very back of this.
Babby's gone very, very long here, so obviously he's just going to be doing a splash and dash at the end. So obviously the Porsche, because I definitely haven't seen Babby come in, so obviously he's net up there with a pit stop to come. So obviously the Porsche can do the distance, so obviously it's one of these ones. I wonder if it has got a pit window at all, to see if it can go right to the end and maybe do it with about 2 laps to go. Oh, there's that looked like Clark and the Aston Martin going wide again, I think it was.
Christ almighty, those two had a real big moment on the exit of Poo1 and into the run into the turn 13 campers. They made contact, and there's a big wiggle for Liam K. So I think Liam K is a little bit not too happy with Dylan Smith and probably Chad Beveridge alike, as he's been really under a lot of argy-bargy. Oh, very wide again on the exit. Is that going to give Dylan Smith another? No, he's not. Somehow, surprisingly, on the exit of Blanchimont, didn't get another slowdown as Chad goes deep into the bus stop again. Potentially going to get a crisscross, and Glory Road comes in as well, so it's sensible. All these guys flying, maybe do your pit stop now, because you're just going to lose time with all this traffic right now. And we're seeing Will Hammond and Josh Holmes in the pit lane as well, so the top 3, and John McAdam might finally return to the P1 since the first lap, after the first lap on down Kemmel Straight. He's going to retake the lead, and Dylan Smith's going to run alongside Chad Pepperbridge, who's going to back out, and then not going to back out, neither of them, and he holds it around the outside, does the Mustang potentially, and Liam K is completely cut across, having to avoid the slow-moving Dylan Smith because he had to shut the wrong line, and Liam K has got a slowdown penalty, so surely that's gonna reverse fortune the other way potentially, but it looks like it's not gonna happen so far, and Liam K might be a little bit, might regret this one, but we'll see if he backs out just now. Not ideal. No, he's done his dues. He's given up the time that he gained, and he's gonna get ahead of Dylan Smith back again.
Yeah, taking it in the same spot as what we saw before. So obviously, you can protect your position there if you do it in the right spot on the track. Don't do it in the straights, just do it in the tighter sections. And yeah, he was able to protect it. And I don't know if Smith might be a little bit annoyed about that, because obviously he was hoping to be able to get in front, but he's having a bit of a run on Liam now. Can he get in there? Oh, side by side in the next corner. If you stay behind it, he'll have the inside line. Protecting as long as he gives him the racing room, which he did, but then now Liam's got the inside line again. So Smith will just have to tuck in behind, and hopefully he can get the power down and get the slipstream to go into the bus stop. But they've got to work with each other here, so they can obviously catch up to Chad again. McAdam's obviously in the lead there. Here we go, side by side coming to Blanchimont. No, he's just a bit in front. A little bit of a slide there, didn't affect him too much. Now under the brakes, the Porsche's having a good look inside. Can he pull it up? Yes, he does. Can he get the over and undercut? No, he can't. That Merc obviously is getting some good drive there as well, so they just need to tidy up their racing a little bit there to try to get a little bit of a gap between each other. But very good racing so far between everybody. Not much tapping. We've only seen the odd tap heel there, but oh, here we go. McAdam is in the pits now, and so is McLeod as well. Zero stopped. The only one that hasn't stopped at the moment is Wales, and once they all come out, I'll be tipping. I think Babby. Yeah, Babby's in front of Josh. He's definitely come out in front. Looking at here, going down the Camel Straight there. Can Smith stop it? Yes, he does. Gets a good run. And gets past Chad now. Liam needs to sort of tuck in behind that Ford and see if he can get past that Ford as well.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. As well as also comes to the box, so no one will get their stop done. Still kind of waiting to see what that gap is, but Dylan Smith did get past Chad Bridge. I'm sure the MK will want to get past him as well. He's kind of been stuck behind the Mustang a little bit overall. Looks like things haven't changed too much. There we go. It's starting to change now as John McAdam on pit exit is going to filter back into P2 currently right now. So good recovery overall from the Mercedes. No, there we go. It's gone down to P4. Never mind. Back to usual.
Yeah, back to usual. Yeah, so obviously the long strategy helped Babby obviously do the overcut there. Obviously, you know, maybe it wouldn't have taken tyres as well. We do know that Josh took some tyres. He had a 24-odd second pit stop there, so maybe Babby had a very short pit stop that allowed him to jump. But let's see what happens now with what have we got here? We've got about maybe 16, 17 minutes to go. I'm not sure if they finish on that and do the extra lap. I'm not sure about iRacing. Some classes like LMU, I think Glenn said yes. No. Okay, so yeah, some form of obviously there's a few racing out there with GT3s where they do the time plus one extra lap. We'll see what happens on that one. I'm not quite sure. We'll follow that on. But the gap between Holmes and Babby's just starting to close down a little bit. At the moment, we're looking at Hammond and Josh. Hammond, Josh, no, sorry. We were looking at McAdam and Hammond. Sorry about that. Thank you for the correction. Now, can we get McAdam get the nice run there? I mean, the gap is not that big with a little bit of time there. They can close this up and actually make it very interesting towards the end. It's all going to come down who's taking tyres, who hasn't, and all that sort of stuff. So McAdam's trying to get a bit of a run there on Hammond. Under brakes, no. We know that he's pretty good with that Merc going into the chicane here. So can he get the drive out, a little tap of the brake to get the rotation in the car? They're going down into turn one, and we'll start again another lap, and let's see what happens going through Rouge and Radion.
Yeah, interesting to see Will Hammond lose out massively from the start. Yeah, it's fallen behind Josh Struick and Joshua Holmes as well. And interesting to see that Holmes did get ahead of Struick in the pit stop, so not the one the win. It's gone the way not where I expected. Two AMGs looking good through Radion and down the Camel Straight, and looks like not really either one getting too much. And Will Hammond there actually going defensive. He's got to let him go. Interesting.
Letting through. Yeah, very interesting. Maybe he's just, someone's gone very wide. There's a lot of dirt there. Who was that? That would have been Josh. Might have gone a bit wide there with the Porsche, or could have been Holmes. It would be interesting. The gap between obviously Josh and Holmes is only 0.7, 0.8 there, so that's going to be tightened up. Now McAdam obviously is going to need to settle down there and just go after Josh there. He looks like he's pulled a bit of a gap, so yes, he's definitely got the faster car there. Maybe haven't thought, look, it's no use fighting this, just let him go just in case I make a mistake, because he has got a good 9.5 second gap on Hignett as well, so he's probably playing the smart game with
You know, with about 14 or 13 minutes to go, actually. So can McAdam actually close up on Josh and Holmes and make it very interesting? With only 2.5 seconds behind Josh, he's got plenty of time to catch up, especially if he's got the delta there per lap. Let's see what happens in the next couple of laps. It's going to take at least 2 or 3 laps to catch up. With obviously a 2-minute lap. There we go. Now we're on Holmes with Josh behind him, trying to put as much pressure as he can on him. Babby looks like he's maintaining that 3.5 second gap in front. Let's see if it can get very interesting. I'm surprised how it has actually tightened up with the after the pit stops, actually.
Yeah, quite surprising indeed, and interested to see if that 3.5 second gap comes down at all between Holmes and Babby. The Audi driver looking quite comfortable so far. And not sure if Struik is going to be able to make much of an inroad on the Audi. As we see here, Jacob Fleming getting potentially past Liam Kay. We did see a big fight as well between Liam Kay and Peppy Bridge, with Dylan Smith as well, who's just up the road. But Liam Kay, unfortunately, losing a position to the other Porsche of Jacob Fleming right now. I believe Jacob Fleming was the Porsche that we saw go for an unfortunate spin on the exit of Pouon quite early in the race, so it's been a bit of an overall recovery drive. Well, Peppy Bridge in the Mustang has been just doing his job and doing everything in the right place right now. And see a replay here. This is Fleming on board with. We saw the K on the outside on our right side. So it looks like Fleming did get the run, dude, into Blanchimont, and pretty easily done for the Porsche driver. And gets it nicely stopped. Pepperbridge needs to pick a line on what he's going to do into the last bus stop, because I've seen him do about 3 different lines so far, and rarely, unfortunately, Apex is involved.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many lines going in there, unless if you're doing side-by-side racing. The fastest line is this. Oh, there was a little bit of snap oversteer there. Will that hurt Fleming and allow Liam to catch up going through Rouge and Radion? Maybe not. Let's see what happens once they exit there. Does he get the overrun? No, he doesn't. So that little bit of snap oversteer didn't hurt him. Didn't hurt him that much. It's going to be status quo again. Now they need to sort of obviously work together to try to get past Chad. Chad's doing a good job there with the Ford to keep a few of them behind him. Coming through here, nice and smooth. They're just going to work together. And obviously the Porsche, we know, definitely's got a bit of good drive out of the corner. I think the Ford does struggle a little bit with the front end by what I can see so far. Will the Ford drivers, with obviously Jaden before, struggling a little bit with the front end. I think Jacob might be, not Jacob, sorry, Chad might be in that same boat. The Ford definitely looks like it's very quick in a straight line. Oh, very wide from both Chad and Jacob.
Slow down.
Yes. Yeah, Chad, unfortunately is going to be compromised now because he's in the part of the track that might hurt him if he slows down too. No, he's cleared that. Liam on the inside now. Can he stick it on Jacob by side by side coming through here, which is turn 14 and 15? Can they hold it? Oh, bit of a tap there, but still okay. And yes, he's got it done. So now off. He's off to the races. They're off to catch Chad down, so get past in front of Chad. Oh, yeah, that was a little bit interesting there, but 2 cars going wide in Pouon. Now we're back on to Josh. Josh is starting to come under increased pressure by McAdam now. McAdam's starting to put a little bit of pressure, and Babby seems to be losing a bit of time. He's lost about half a second. So I think if Josh gets in, hang on a minute. Sorry, Babby. Sorry, my bad commentary there. McAdam's obviously on Josh, and they're just up ahead. He's Holmes as well. So if you can get past, he goes getting a bit of a run there, going through Blanchimont. No, he's held that nicely there.
Josh is just hold that. It looks like he's starting to suffer a little bit there. Now it looks like that Merc is obviously coming into its own now with very good pace towards the end. Can he get through with approximately, we'll say, 9 minutes to go? So he's only probably got about another 3 odd more laps, 3 maybe 4 laps at the most, to get that second spot, third spot, I should say, to get into the podium.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. He did have a very good run from the exit of Stavolo, but wasn't able to get far enough up the inside into Blanchemont, so elected to take the safer approach and take the bit more of a tighter, slower line. Oh, there's a touchdown, Liam Kay on the back of Chad Pepperbridge's Mustang. I'm not sure if there was a really much of an overlap, and unfortunately Chad Pepperbridge is going to get a slowdown penalty as well, not to help things go his way, but a small little touch between those two as well. Yeah, that was a kind of potentially a long time coming and kind of caught it a little bit late there, but ultimately Liam Kay does finally get ahead of Chad Pepperbridge a little bit at the expense of some body work, potentially. It's a little bit weird. We're both kind of going for that inside line. We cut back now to Josh Struick and John McAdam. Struick, yeah, a little bit on the ropes, and especially with how good John McAdam's been through this middle sector right now. He's already got a bit of potential run into Puon, and he's going to draw alongside up the inside. He plays it safe and keeps the line tight. Josh holds it around the outside in the Porsche. Got a good run, but the Mercedes is actually really strong on the exit of the Puon as well, but not able to get it done for anything into Campus Corner. But going to set himself up for another run out of Stabilo, I would wager, is the AMG driver, who potentially might be able to get back onto at least the podium. And I think the win is out of reach for tonight, and the Porsche finds the gravel on the exits and really not going to help his run at all.
I noticed Chad's come into the pit. He's got a black flag beside him. Obviously, that must be a penalty. That may be track limits or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but he's definitely into the pits with the black flag. Obviously, we still got Josh is fighting it. He's trying to keep McCann behind him. McCann's trying to put a lot of pressure onto him. Sorry for cutting you off there, Cameron. Just not sure about the black flag there. I'm assuming the black one there. So this is starting to get very interesting between McAdam and Josh there. John and Josh. I'll go McAdam and Josh. There you go. It'll be a little bit easier for me to pronounce that without completely stuffing it up like I did before. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Coming to. He's obviously Chad's just come out. Yeah, look, I think that might have been a bit of a penalty there, but obviously he's come out in front of. Oh,
what are we doing?
Yeah, let him through. Don't fight him. He shouldn't be there.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's really going to help things out. Unfortunately, had to hold straight to let him go, but unfortunately going to open up this gap between P3 and 4 that we were very much enjoying. Thanks very much, Chad Pepperbridge, for that one. Yeah, sorry, that has been around long enough. You had that hold straight to let them go. You decided to half let one go and then just filter in between. Well done. Sorry, but well. With 5 minutes to go on the exit, on the end of this race, I'm not too sure if that battle for the podium is going to reignite. It's only a 1 second gap, but we'll see what happens so far. I'm sure John McAdam probably not too impressed. As impressed as me. Jamie Rondinelli, for some reason, has come back into the pit lane. Not too sure what's on that one, but the gap is definitely. It looks like Chad Pepperidge has found the gravel on the exit. But yeah, Josh Holmes actually did bring that gap down to 1.5 seconds from 3.5 about 5 minutes ago. So he has been closing in on Glory Pappy. But with 4 minutes to go, I'm not too sure if he is going to be able to get this done. It's going to be a big ask, and you can definitely see as cars get close, it's really hard to get the move done without that big speed delta. But they're just up the road, and anything happens is really going to get reward Struick and Adam as well, if there's anything that comes to blows between these two. But yeah, 3.5 minutes left on the clock right now. I imagine that will... the race will finish as soon as you cross the line on the 0. So I imagine, like we do in ACC. So you know, depending on when the leader crosses the line, definitely won't be slowing up with the gap to P2 right now. You can see all top 4 is all in one camera angle pretty much, with these two not too far behind. But yeah, Struick definitely not off for the hook despite that, you know, that incident with Chap Everbridge in the Mustang. But yeah, not going to be ideal for John McAdam. A bit disappointed that Will Hammond, who we saw he had that great pace, just hasn't really looked on as, you know, kind of showed the speed he did in the first half of the race. Still there in the back of short in the black Mercedes, but unfortunately not really putting much of a threat to these top 4 right now.
Yeah, but look, it's been very, very interesting. They've obviously tightened right up. It's the strategy's obviously played a big part there, but it looks like Babby's just starting to stretch it out. I wonder if was a mistake there in some part of the track there to allow it to close down, because that's sort of come out of the blue. I was watching it before. They had like 2 and a bit seconds, so I'd be tipping Glory might have made a bit of a mistake there to allow Holmes to catch up again and keep Holmes interested in trying to catch P1, because you see that's just sort of fluctuating between 0.16 and 0.18 with potentially, yeah, they'll be coming on to the last lap now. Oh, here we go. This is tightened up again between McAdam and Josh. Oh, a little bit of dirt there for McAdam. Now he's only got 1 more lap to try to get the top 3. Can he get there? He's definitely closed it up. He needs to get a good run, and everything's got to be done on the next lap. Definitely won't be doing it on this one. Can he?
Next lap is last lap as well.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. So he needs to be able to get a good run. He needs just to put the car in the right spot, and I'll be tipping if there's going to be an overtaking move, it's going to be coming into this corner on the last lap. With the gap I can see here, because we know that Porsche accelerates out of turn 1 pretty well. There we go. It looks like the last lap flag has come out. Going into turn 1, let's see what happens here. Going into La Source. Get the power down, no oversteer, no nothing, no, very, very good. Looks like Babby's got a back marker in front of him as well. Hopefully they don't compromise anybody. Going into Rouge and Radion. Can that Merc get a good drive out of here? Yes, he does. Still not quite close enough to do anything at the end of the Camel Straight. Some of the views that we've been receiving out of tonight has been fantastic as well. Nice and low. See, under braking, turning into Le Combs. Oh, definitely closes up there. Coming out of turn 7 to go into turn 8. Oh, he's trying to put the nose there, try to unsettle Josh there. Definitely tucking in nice and close there. Trying to get the slipstream into No Name. Get the power out into No Name, a little bit of an overrun, not quite close enough, coming into Puon.
Getting a good entry for Puon now, and this is actually where the Mercedes has been really strong with John McAdam as the Porsches tend to run wide on this second part. You can really close the end. The Delta now getting close to 1/10. He's looking to the inside. The Porsche goes defensive. He covers up the inside into Camper's corner, but not able to get anything done is the Mercedes as well. The gap back down to 2/10. The leaders jump ahead. There's Jaden Rondinelli in the Mustang jump ahead. I imagine he won't affect this battle, but a little bit wide there on Stabilo 1. It might give the inside for the Mercedes as they potentially go too wide through Stabilo 2. Not so, but the Miss Porsche still comes out on top and is pulling away ever so slightly from the Mercedes. And unfortunately, it's compromised the Mercedes' run, and it's not going to be ideal for a move down into the bus stop chicane. It is not going the way of John McAdam, but unfortunately, I think this might be day done. Josh Drake just has to get through this corner as the leader comes through in the bus stop as well. His congratulations to Glory Babby. He is going to win the final round of the first season of iRacing. P2 goes to Josh Holmes, P3 goes to Josh Stewart, and P4 goes to Paul Sitter, John McAdam for a great fight there at the end. Will Hammond in P5 in the other Mercedes and does cross the line as well. Ben Hignett a few seconds down the line. I was going to say, I did see there was a meatball flag for one of the Porsches. Jane Sweeney, not this one in particular, but did unfortunately go for a spin at the end of the race. And I think he went back for a tow as well. with another car as well. I think Michael Clark had an incident with someone as well. Ooh, not too sure if this is a replay or live. No, there is a replay, and that's what happened to Michael Clark, unfortunately. Hold your brakes, please, Jacob Fleming. Oh, dear. You've ruined your race, and unfortunately, at least Michael Clark got it to the end, despite not much of a front end on that Aston Martin, not the way that really wanted to end that race. But yeah, congratulations to the top 5. They gave us a right old a good battle all through the race.
Yeah, very, very good race there. Obviously, strategy played a big part there. Babby, well done. Played it very smart. Long run helped them out there. There we go with Smith. Still waiting for Smith to finish, and then you got Liam Kay in the background there. So obviously, the top 10 is Babby first, Holmes in second. Strout in third, McAdam in fourth, Hammond in fifth, Hignett in sixth, Keys in seventh, McLeod in eighth, Cook ninth, and Dreyer in 10. And they're all doing the mandatory burnouts there to use up whatever tyres remain. Here comes Liam Kay now across the line to finish everybody off. Wow, that my first attempt at iRacing. I do apologise if I stuffed it up a little bit, but yeah, seeing a different dynamic there on these cars, and obviously different to what I'm used to, was very interesting. What did you think?
No, it was definitely interesting dynamic. I was a little bit of a slow burn at the start of the race, but definitely the mid-pack gave us a lot of battles, and obviously good to see John McAdam with that pace, getting back through the field after a little bit of calamitous at first few laps, but great to see as well. And also see the potential for iRacing obviously going into the second season as well. And the results here, obviously, Glory Babby did win ahead of Josh Holmes and Josh Stewart, John McAdam P4, Will Hammond P5, Ben Hignett P6, Lucas Keys P7. We didn't see too much of him, unfortunately, after the early part of the race. Alistair McLeod, a good drive from him in the P8, Brad Cook in P9, and Leo Dreyer in P10 to make up the top 10. But yeah, good to see at least a whole bunch of cars still at the end of the season. Tend to get a little bit of drop off. Obviously, we mentioned it before, we had the Adelaide 4-hour next April, I believe, on the 13th, 18th. I apologise. It's good to have that one. I'll be starting at 6 p.m. as well. So great to get a 4-hour iRacing Enduro under our belts, as well as obviously the ACC, LMU, and iRacing all going to be full-time next season, all starting on the 8th and 9th of April as well, to bear in mind. And of course, later this weekend, of course, we have on the 28th, we have the Duros taking off in this time around. So getting our Duro season getting underway. It should be good to get that things back back online as well for ACC. So do catch us again for that. But yeah, I think that'll be it for everything.
Yes, and thank you to our sponsor Thermaltake for supporting OOR and our sim racing fraternity as well. Yep,
That'll be
good
everything.
night all. Yep, thank you.
Night. Goodbye.